In today's podcast, I'm going to teach you how to spot bad faith buyers and get them out of your life as quickly as possible. Welcome to the Intentional Success Podcast, where we unpack the top strategies, explore business trends, and drill down into best practices to help your live events production business grow and scale on purpose. I'm your host, Tom Stimson. Interesting phenomenon that's coming back up again. Maybe it's running through another cycle. Maybe there's some churn in the industry, but I have talked to a lot of my clients who are dealing with people who, to me, are showing all the signs of being bad faith buyers. Well, you might call them pain in the ass buyers, and I do too. There's some real pains in the asses out there in our industry. And when they run the course of the businesses that they've been dealing with, and somebody finally cries BS and says, I can't take this anymore, they move on. They try to find another sucker to work with them. So there's a lot of that going on right now. And if your business is growing, you're making waves, you're probably talking to some new people. People are finding about you. You're getting referrals. But here's the interesting about bad faith buyers. They often don't come in as a referral. And if they do come in as a referral, it's from somebody you don't know, or it's some freelancer somewhere in some city that you have no idea how they would know who you are. So the first thing that you're going to find when you when you find yourself talking to a bad faith buyer is you're not quite sure how they found you. But why does this matter? Everybody's a pain in the ass sometimes. Really, there aren't people out there who are a pain in the ass for a living, are there? Yes, they are. And that's what I'm talking about. Everybody has a bad day. Everybody has a lot of pressure from their boss. All these things happen. It's a high stress industry. So there are times that our regular customers who are otherwise well-intentioned are going to have a bad day and they're going to blame you, right? Crap flows downhill, and sometimes we're standing there at the bottom of it trying to help and we're just getting yelled at. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who are purposefully trying to take advantage of your good nature. They want to pay ridiculous terms. They don't want to sign your agreement. They don't want to follow your rules. They don't want to listen to your expectations, right? There's a lot, there's a lot of clues that they're giving you, which tell you that when things get tough, you're going to get blamed for everything, and somehow they're going to get money back. And that's the one thing that these pain in the ass customers, these bad faith buyers, all seem to have in common is they're trying to find a way to not pay some or part of their bill. It's like, okay, that's an interesting business model, but you know what? That's how some people are wired, unfortunately. And I don't want you to have to deal with them. I don't want our industry to have to deal with them. I want us all to spot them and start calling BS. But there's something better that we can do to help them understand that the industry's got their number and they're going to have to change their game. And maybe they have perfectly reasonable shows and expectations. They just have a bad way of doing business. So if you're up for converting them, I'm going to tell you how to do it. But what I'm going to help you do is spot them, make them uncomfortable enough to go away, or play by your rules. All right. Look, bad faith buyers, they will tell you that they expect you to be completely transparent, but then they won't answer a simple question. They want site surveys and meetings and drawings, and they imply that you've been selected to do the job, but they won't sign your agreement or verify that in writing in any way. They won't confirm the order. Hey, we've got another meeting, okay? And they keep putting off signing the agreement because the job is changing. Oh, they all change, don't they? This is why we need to understand that we need to have an agreement that starts the job instead of waiting for an agreement of what the final version of the job is, which is usually 3 days before load in, right? Bad faith buyers have a check ready for you, right? I get that check ready for you, but hey, the client just called. I think some things are changing. Let me make sure everything is still on track. Hey, we need another site survey. Hey, can I see some new numbers on this, right? And they still haven't paid you a thing. Bad faith buyers, you'll recognize them because they move really fast. they're so nice. They're very careful to make sure they say nice things to you, but they move so fast that you stay off balance. They don't take time for your process. They don't listen to your concerns. They're not worried about your expectations. They just tell you it'll be all right. We just got to get through this next meeting. I'll have more information then. So they won't tell you, this is very telling, they won't tell you who they worked with last, but they will say that company messed up. They won't say specifically how they messed up. They said, well, we were working with another company, but they messed up. And they will infer that they want a long-term relationship with you, even though you've never heard of them before. You've not heard of their event. They will drop city names about future projects and dangle those little carrots out there and then rush you into another revision. Okay. Now, you're starting to see this, right? You're starting to spot these people. They have, you finally do get a proposal in front of them, the terms and conditions, and they go, hey, everything about the proposal looks great. Let me check with my client. Let's make sure that we can move forward. They're always kind of agency buyers, but they tell you they're not an agency, that they are the final decision maker, but they always have to check with someone, right? That's not good faith, is it? That is not transparent, is it? So we need to be very wary of these folks that will look at your proposal and say, oh, and yeah, my RFP, if you remember, my RFP said we would pay you in 60 days. It's like, my proposal says you will pay me 100% before we get on show site. So, well, that's just not how we do things. But hey, I've got this other thing I need you to do. Would you take a look at this? And have you guys ever been to drop city name, right? So when you find yourself kind of being gaslighted to keep moving forward on their timeline, chances are you're dealing with a bad faith buyer. And bad faith buyers become pain in the ass clients on show site because somehow there's going to be a fall and you're going to take it. They're going to be the hero. I worked with producers for years. I know what people like this are like. Part of what they have to do is make their client believe that they're in control of everything and that you are just the bad person if something goes wrong. Now, here's a couple tools that you need to try when you start hearing the signs that this is a bad faith buyer. You need a phrase that will stop them in their tracks. And this works with regular buyers as well, but we say the phrase differently, right? Same phrase works for everyone, but when you're dealing with a bad faith customer, you probably put a little different inflection into the phrase, such as, hey, I'm sorry, Mary, I don't have that option available. Like 60-day terms versus, 60-day terms. I don't have that option available. Same words, two different, very clear meanings, okay? You can say things like, hey, we discussed this on our end, and here's what we can do, okay? So you're saying, hey, we thought about this. We're going to move on. If they're not willing to hear what you can do, you are dealing with a bad faith buyer. Cut and run. My favorite is work is paused on this project until we close this step. Work is paused. Hey, I need another revision. I said, I'd like to do that for you, but work is paused until we reconcile the agreement so we can move forward. I have another phrase I use that my clients know about. It goes, hey, I'm out of free. Hey, I'd like to help you, but I am out of free. Okay, here's what it's going to cost for us to continue to help you. Okay. If you don't do these things, if you don't spot these people, if you think, oh, well, that's just the way they are. If you're too nice, okay, pain in the ass buyers will push the limits of your good nature. Okay. And I love good-natured people. Please don't let them do that to you. Okay. They will take care of any undocumented memory. I have a client who's working with a clearly pain in the ass buyer who, while they may not be a bad faith buyer, they expect their supplier to take on responsibilities that they are not being paid for. And if you don't document everything you talk about, everybody's memory is going to be suspect. So I encourage my clients that you need to start recording your phone calls. We all have recorders on our Zoom and Teams now. Make sure you're recording these things so that you have documented memory of what was said. These bad faith buyers will cash in on any missteps or any misspeaks that you make, even if you catch it in real time and say, I'm sorry, I corrected that in the moment. They're still going to come back and say, well, the other day you said, well, no, I corrected myself. I know, but you said, right? This is called gaslighting, folks. Okay. And they will infer that your relationship is always on the line when you don't have a relationship because they haven't written you a check yet. Okay. So basically, bad faith buyers will gaslight you into thinking that your memory is incorrect, that your policies are unprecedented. No one has ever asked us for a deposit before, and that you're being unreasonable. So how to pivot the relationship? If it is salvageable, you have to be very transparent. These are our policies. Here's the timeline. Okay. I have policies and timelines that require signatures. Okay. I have decisions that have to be made that are made because of the timeline. So if you don't sign this, this is what happens. Here's the choice that you make if you don't decide. What's the Neil Peart phrase? If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I love that one. This is where it applies. Pain in the ass buyers get this phrase. As a business, you need to start working with credit card authorizations. Okay. You need to charge a reservation fee at some point in your selling process, even if the job is not fully defined. Okay. Like 18% of what the projected value of the job is. Just make it a formula that doesn't look challengeable. 20%, 25%, 50% all look like made up numbers. Make it 18.6%. Based on our last quote, this is what it's going to cost to do the reservation. And when you sign that credit card authorization, it also agrees to the terms and conditions of whatever the project is. So if your terms and conditions say 2 weeks out, I'm going to charge you the total cost of labor and logistics, then 2 weeks out, you're going to charge the credit card the total cost of labor and logistics of the job at that time. Right? So you will get your progress billing going, but you need to have a policy that says, I have to have a credit card authorization. Even if you write me a check, I still have to have a credit card authorization because that's how we're going to bill your on-site changes. Right? Now, anybody who's a good faith buyer will understand that. You can't stay in a hotel room without a credit card. How in the world are you going to hire an AV company who's going to bring in $500,000 worth of equipment and not expect to flip out a credit card from time to time? Bad faith buyers will tell you that that is unheard of. It's unprecedented. They won't do that. They will get you a check. Okay. And I've been saying check all through this recording here and going, come on, it's 2024. Take checks from your good customers. Everybody else, you want a credit card or some sort of wire transfer or bank transfer, not a check that you have to go deposit and wait for it to clear. So listen to what these people are saying to you. If you start to feel uncomfortable, if your spidey sense that maybe this person's not legit or they're stringing us along, if you have an ops crew or a labor coordinator that's going, hey, can I book the crew yet? And you're going, I'm not sure. Chances are you've got a bad faith buyer. Okay. Get to a no as quickly as you can, move on, and get on and find some better customers. So that's my rant for the day. Please watch out for yourselves. They're coming back. They're out there. They're working their way through the industry. Our job is to get smarter, make them uncomfortable, get them to move on. Thanks for listening. If you want to find out more about today's episode, go to trstimson.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes, related links, and tons of other valuable resources. If you haven't already subscribed to the Intentional Success Podcast, please do so, and I'd greatly appreciate if you would rate and review the show. Also, if you think you might be a good fit to work together or want more information about the Stimson Group, I'd love to hear from you. Visit trstimson.com for more information.